Welcome to Crystals and Codes. I hope you enjoy today's discussion. Please add your thoughts and reflections to the comments at the end of this video. There's a very old idea that shows up again and again in spiritual traditions across the world. It's the idea that, in order to awaken or reach enlightenment, we must somehow erase ourselves. That the individual personality is a problem. Desire is something to be conquered. The material world is a distraction, to be ignored and escaped. And for many sincere seekers, this belief can quietly turn the spiritual path into a struggle against their own humanity. Today, we're going to explore a passage from the Law of One that offers a very different and deeply compassionate perspective. One that doesn't ask us to disappear, but instead invites us to understand, accept, and gently transform ourselves as we are. The questioner asks Ra about a belief common in mystical traditions, that the individual self must be erased and the material world ignored in order to reach enlightenment, or what some traditions call nirvana. In other words, what is the proper role of the self, with all its desires, personality, and worldly activity, on the path of spiritual growth? It's a question many of us have felt in our own lives, especially if we've ever wondered whether our emotions, wants, or attachments are somehow unspiritual. Ra's response may be surprising, especially if you're used to more ascetic teachings. Ra says that it is inappropriate in the extreme to encourage the overcoming of desires, except in a very specific sense. Instead of suppressing or forcibly eliminating desires, Ra suggests imagining them, reflecting on them, and understanding them, particularly when acting them out physically would violate the law of one, which is rooted in unity, compassion, and free will. Why? Because trying to overcome a desire through force actually creates imbalance. In simple terms, what we resist too aggressively tends to come back stronger. Ra explains that overcoming is an unbalanced action. When we fight a part of ourselves, we don't actually resolve it. We push it into the background where it continues to influence us unconsciously. This is a subtle but important insight. If we shame ourselves for having a desire, if we label it as bad or unworthy, or try to erase it through willpower alone, we may appear disciplined on the surface, but internally that desire hasn't been healed. It's just been buried. And buried material has a way of resurfacing. This is not a moral flaw in one's character. It is simply how consciousness works. Ra then offers a radically gentle reframe. All things are acceptable in the proper time for each entity. This doesn't mean acting out every impulse without care. And it doesn't mean indulging in harm. It means recognizing that desire itself is not the problem. Desire is information. It's part of how consciousness explores itself. Growth, according to Ra, happens through a sequence, experiencing which leads to understanding, which leads to acceptance, and finally, the ability to share. Not suppressing, not conquering, but relating. Let's bring this down to earth for a moment. Imagine you notice jealousy arise in a relationship. A common spiritual reflex might be, I shouldn't feel this. I need to get rid of it. But Ra would suggest something very different. Instead of fighting the jealousy, you might gently ask, what is this pointing to? Is there fear underneath it? Is there a need for safety, reassurance, or self-worth? By understanding and accepting the feeling, without immediately acting it out, you begin to balance it. The same applies to anger, ambition, attachment, or even the desire for recognition. None of these make you less spiritual. They make you human, and therefore perfectly positioned to learn. Another important thread in this passage is free will. Ra emphasizes preserving the primal distortion of free will, meaning that spiritual growth cannot be forced, either by external rules or internal self-punishment. True transformation arises naturally when understanding deepens. When a desire is fully seen and compassionately accepted, it often begins to soften on its own. Not because it was defeated, but because it was understood. Ra uses an interesting phrase here, that we move from distortions of one kind to distortions of another. This reminds us of something very grounding. There is no perfect, distortion-free state while incarnate. Spiritual growth isn't about eliminating distortion entirely. In fact, this is likely not even possible. It's about moving toward distortions that are more aligned with unity, kindness, and clarity. In other words, the goal isn't purity, it's harmony. Ra closes this idea by saying that this path requires patience, experience, careful analysis, and, most importantly, compassion for self and for other self. This is not a fast process, and it's not meant to be. If you've ever felt frustrated with your own pace, if you've wondered why certain patterns keep repeating, if you felt discouraged by your humanity, this passage offers reassurance. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wrong. Every experience is part of learning how to love more fully, starting with yourself. So perhaps the invitation here isn't to transcend the self by erasing it, but to include the self in love. To allow desire to teach rather than dominate, to replace inner warfare with genuine curiosity, to trust that understanding naturally leads to transformation. You don't need to reject the world to know unity. You are already within the law of one, learning it from the inside. If you'd like, take a moment after this video to gently reflect on one desire or pattern in your life, not to change it, but simply to understand it. That alone is powerful work. What does this revelation mean to you? Let us discuss in the comments. I hope you join us in the next video. Be well.